Audi recently announced some minor upgrades to the S3 and S4 range, and in Australia we buy a disproportionate amount of S and RS Audis compared to the rest of the world. I think the S3 is actually a smarter buy day to day than the RS3. I've always loved it. I reckon it's particularly cool in sedan form. Let's take another look at it. Audi's S3 might have only changed subtly, but when you're on a good thing, you should stick to it, shouldn't you? New equipment for 2020 includes 19-inch Audi Sport alloy wheels, standard metallic paint, red brake calipers, S Sport seats in Napa leather, auto-folding side mirrors with curved view, a Bang & Olufsen surround sound system, wireless smartphone charging, Audi magnetic ride control, lane assist, high beam assist, and adaptive cruise control with stop and go. All up, Audi's S3 models gain around $9,000 in added specification for no extra cost. Pricing starts at $64,200 plus on roads for the S3 Sportback. So most of the changes that we said were minor in the intro are actually here inside the cabin. We've got new sports seats, Napa leather, a new audio system and wireless phone charging, and all of that takes what was already an impressive package and makes it even more enjoyable to drive. I really love virtual cockpit, and I like the two screen setup because you can hide this center one if you want, or you can use it to display what I tend to do, which is mobile phone info there, and then I have mapping and the gauges here. So I think feels like a really premium cabin here in the S3, especially for the money, because you've got to remember this is not a $100,000 or $120,000 car. Starts from 65 plus on-road costs. And I think while it's compact and it is small in here, you are buying a small performance car, so I think you sign up for that when you buy it. But otherwise, very premium in here. The 2-litre TFSI engine punches out 213 kilowatts and 380 newton metres and is mated to a 7-speed dual-clutch transmission along with Audi's legendary Quattro all-wheel drive system. It will get from 0 to 100 kilometres an hour in just 4.8 seconds. Engine and drivetrain pretty much as they always were, really. The engine's a little firecracker. It's a great performance engine for the capacity, punches out plenty of power and torque. I think the gearbox is particularly sharp. I love the way it shifts either when you're just cruising around like we are now, or if you go to a track day, you're really pushing it. Up at redline, the shifts are lightning quick, so I think it does both jobs really well. The ride probably errs on the side of firm, but again, you expect that in this kind of car. I mean, you're buying a performance sedan or hatch in this end of the market, so you expect it to be firm. And I think what the S3 does particularly well, and this is why I say the S3 is the one to get over the RS3, is that it's not quite as edgy, it's not quite as sharp, it's obviously not quite as performance oriented, which means it's a little bit more pleasant to drive day to day around town as we're doing now. And I think it does that duality of character really well because you can still have a lot of fun with it, but it's still practical, comfortable, and user-friendly day to day. So there you go. While they're minor changes, and they certainly haven't changed the way the S3 drives, it's always good to spend time in a car that you haven't driven for a while to refamiliarise yourself with it. And in the case of the S3, remind me of why I liked it so much in the first place. I still think the S3 is a smarter buy than the RS3. I also think you should get the sedan because I think it looks fantastic. And how do you argue with value like this for just over 65 grand before on-road costs? In the meantime, follow us on Instagram and Facebook and click on subscribe.